Here's the only boatless catfishing guide you need to maximize your success now. Let's start off with the perfect location to use our proven catfishing techniques to catch more catfish. Location means everything when you're bank catfishing. Catfish love areas with submerged underwater structure like fallen trees, sunken logs and humps, rock piles, and underwater ledges. And of course, always be on the lookout for deep holes and crevices because catfish are bottom-dwelling scavengers and are usually hanging out in deeper water spots during the day. You should also be looking out for current breaks in deeper rivers, places where the current slows down, like around eddies or sandbar edges. You can also scout for inlets and outlets where water flows into or out of the lake or pond. That's because these areas tend to attract bait fish, and that, of course, attracts the catfish right behind them. If you can fish near overhanging trees and shaded areas during the day as well, this is where you're going to find the biggest cats lurking and resting. Here's a great pro hack. You can look for bubbles rising to the surface or jumping bait fish nearby. These are great signs that often indicate there's catfish activity nearby or underwater. Now for the pro techniques of how to catch and land trophy catfish every time. Once you get Mr. Whiskers on the line, make sure to always keep steady tension on the line with a deliberate and slow and steady motion to reel him in. If the cat starts to dive deep, let it tire itself out a bit before you begin to reel. And you can use your dominant hand on the rod body to stabilize the rod while you're fighting a big fish. And now's a good time to remind you to like this video and hit the subscribe button and notification bell to stay updated with all the tips, tricks, and tutorials we post daily. Thank you. Catfish are opportunistic feeders, so getting your baits right for the species you're targeting is crucial to catching more fish consistently every time. A go-to bait for all species of catfish is always going to be cut bait. Big 4 to 6 inch chunks of fresh shad, bluegill, or skipjack tend to work best, as they're all oily and smelly fish that are irresistible to blue and channel catfish primarily. And once the insides and blood get into the water, it creates a scent trail that brings in cats from up to 100 yards away. Just make sure using cut-up bait is legal where you live. And same with live bait of these same fish. That's by far the #1 choice for targeting monster flatheads. And our all-time favorite bait is chicken liver. The fat, protein, blood content, and texture are one of the catfish's favorite go-to baits that work when nothing else does. And the real pro hack is to stuff it in a pair of pantyhose to keep it all together, and that allows you to cast it out to the deepest parts of the lake. But just make sure that using nylon is legal where you live. And here is the brand we use. It works great in the nude color. Another versatile go-to bait for catfish 8 days a week is a whole glob of big, juicy, and plump live night crawlers. The live, natural flavor, taste, movement, and wiggle drive catfish crazy year-round. Just fish them right on the bottom or just off the bottom floor. And another pro tip to make sure that your worms are always extra plump and lively is to keep them in the refrigerator year-round right next to your butter, eggs, and milk in a well-ventilated styrofoam container, and you'll have worms on the ready whenever you call for them to come into the game. And how about a good old-fashioned homemade dough bait? You can mix up cornmeal, stinky Limburger cheese, garlic powder, and flour to make a nice, sticky, stinky dough ball for them. And another pro hack is to marinate these in heavy garlic or cherry Kool-Aid for an extra punch of scent. And folks, these are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to baits that work to catch catfish. Make sure you leave us a comment on what baits you have used to catch the biggest whiskers where you live. To be successful at bank catfishing, you're definitely going to need the right gear to handle these powerful monsters. To start off with, you need a heavy action spinning rod in a 7 to 9 foot length, because a longer rod's going to allow you to cast out farther from shore to reach the deepest holes, and a strong and sturdy rod with a good backbone is going to allow you to absorb the big fight if you land a monster blue or flathead. And in terms of the spinning reel, just make sure it has a large line capacity to be able to hold at least 150 to 200 yards of heavy braided fishing line, and that it has a good drag system that won't slip if you have to fight a brute. And like we said, we always use at least 50-pound moss green colored braided line, which is super strong, abrasion resistant, and yet very sensitive to allow you to feel the fish at all times. When you're bottom fishing, you're also going to catch 50-pound aggressive snapping turtles, which eat the same foods as catfish, so never go into a fishing fight undergunned. Don't forget terminal tackle. Whenever you go fishing, you want to be using octopus circle hooks, which are designed to turn in the catfish's mouth when he takes the bait so it isn't gut hooked. We use a 4/0 to 5/0 for channel and bullheads, and a 7/0 to 8/0 for the bigger flatheads and blues. Just make sure your hooks are always super sharp. Please make sure you also have plenty of heavy sinkers on hand, like a 1 ounce for pond fishing and a 2 ounce for deeper rivers and for heavy current to make sure it gets down to the bottom. And always a couple good, strong, heavy rod holders for shoreline fishing, multiple rods with different baits on each. Okay, we hope you're still with us and have gotten a lot of good tips and strategies thus far that you can put in place next time you're catfishing from the bank. So let's wrap up. First, always carry a big landing net with you whenever you're shore catfishing. And when you do land a monster, make sure to keep away from their dorsal and pectoral fins that have very sharp spines and can put a good cut on you, as opposed to a catfish's whiskers, which are as harmless as a dog's or cat's. And if you didn't know, catfish are mostly nocturnal, so historically the biggest cats come at nighttime when they tend to move into the shallows to feed most aggressively. So you can get a catfish rod with a fluorescent tip and also get bite alarms like bells that attach to your rod tip to ensure you don't miss any bites at night when you can't see the rod as well. And some proven advanced hacks. You can add a few drops of anise oil to any bait you're using to create a scent that they just can't resist. We carry anise oil in our tackle box at all times. And if it's legal to do by you, chum the waters you're fishing with cut up scraps of the cut bait we mentioned earlier, or you can also throw out some wet canned dog food into the area, or the oil from canned tuna will also create a scent trail in the water that draws them right in. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these expert fishing tips, tricks, and hacks, make sure to smash the subscribe button, enable your bell notifications to stay updated with all the latest expert advice, and join our community of passionate anglers today. Tight lines. We'll see you out on the water soon. Okay, folks, thanks for watching. Please like this video, hit the subscribe button before you leave, and don't forget to enable your bell notifications so you never miss another great video coming your way.